Hey, what's going on here, fish people? Today we're going to talk about freshwater velvet. Today I'm going to talk about something that I can't find on YouTube. I'm going to talk about freshwater velvet. Now, there's a lot of relationships when it comes to velvet and ick in terms of freshwater fish. They're both parasites. They both feed off the fish. Both parasites will eventually kill your fish. And I know this channel is mainly reefing, but I do have freshwater fish and I care about them too. So I just wanted to talk about them. Now, the reason I'm talking about freshwater velvet is because about 3 months ago, I lost my favorite betta fish to velvet. His name was Stan, and just out of the blue, he had velvet. Now, some things you need to know about velvet. It is like egg. You will see tiny spots all over your fish, but whereas egg, it's going to be tiny little white spots. With velvet, you're going to see tiny little gold, what appears to be like gold flakes. Now, I didn't know it was velvet at first. I was like, ooh, look at my betta is turning gold. My betta wasn't worth it anymore just because it was turning gold. It actually was very sick. So that being said, I want to go through some different ways to help possibly treat velvet. This is something I wish I would have had when my fish got velvet, and I just wanted to be out there. So I'm going to talk about 3 different ways to hopefully try to get rid of velvet from your fish. Now, here's a disclaimer. This may or may not get rid of velvet in the fish tank. The fish may already be too far gone. So one of the first things you need to do is find out that your fish is velvet quick. It's all about early treatment. The earlier the treatment, the better chance of survival. Number 1. The number 1 way to help treat freshwater velvet is prevention. The best way to prevent freshwater velvet is to quarantine your fish. Now, in quarantining your fish, you're going to essentially keep your fish out of your main display tank for a period of anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. Now, what I like to do is I like to keep my quarantine tank at around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Most freshwater tanks are going to be 78 degrees. Why do you do this? It is a parasite. It has a life cycle. So, in order to speed up that life cycle, what we can do is increase the metabolism of this parasite. That way, if you begin to see any signs of velvet or ick, this works for ick too, you can begin treating them. Number 2, one of the ways that I like to treat velvet when I see it is darkness. Freshwater velvet does feed off your fish. It attacks their gills. You see gold flakes. Now, something unlike ick, whereas velvet is photosynthetic. Photosynthetic means it absorbs light. So the best way to do this is to block all light from the tank. This is going to seem excessive, but any small amount of light that you have in your tank is detrimental for your fish's health when they have velvet because of this photosynthetic property that these fish have. They feed off light, they feed off your fish, but they need both to survive. So if they don't have light, they cannot survive. So what do? I just drove into the side thing. So what do you do if your fish has velvet? Cover it up. Cover it up with a towel, a blanket, or even put it in a little bowl and keep it covered until you don't see any signs of disease. Now, the life cycle of freshwater velvet is about 30 days. It's similar to ick. So you want to keep this fish in complete darkness, essentially, until you don't see any signs of velvet. And that could help, and may not. It's just one of the other ways. The 3rd way to treat freshwater velvet is copper. I like to use cupramine. It's typically use it for saltwater tanks. And there's also like copper safe and other forms of copper that you can use to help treat your fish. But it's whatever preference you have available, and that's what you can use. Velvet is like the plague. If you have velvet in your tank, your fish are going to die. So one fish has velvet, they all have velvet. So the best thing to do is to take all your fish out. If you don't have any invertebrates like snails, shrimp in your freshwater tank, put them back in your quarantine system and treat them with the copper per the instructions on the bottle. Now, it's not that hard to pour it in the bottle. Just read the instructions, you do the number of drips, and you're good to go. I have a test kit for copper just because I'm overprotective and I want to make sure I'm treating the right amount. But it's pretty simple. Just don't go too high because you could potentially kill your fish as well. As always, guys, I want to thank you for watching today's video. I know it's pretty short, but I really hope it helps save your fish. If you have any other questions or any ways that you like to treat velvet and or egg inside your tank, leave them in the comments below. And as always, thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I don't know why I'm always dressed up for these videos. I dress up one day a week, and that's always the day of the week that I'm like, hey, I need to record a video for YouTube. So, bear with me.